count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Bone-chilling temperatures are moving into mid-Missouri this week. Good evening. I'm Eric Graves.
And I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us. Let's send it right over to KOMU 8 Chief Meteorologist Kenton Jawicki with more on just how cold it's going to get. Kenton.
Hey guys, thank you very much. We already have a little bit of moisture actually moving in right now, and it's all ahead of a cold front that's rolling through tomorrow morning. So we're tracking that, but with this weak moisture, right now it's just some sprinkles, and you can see right where this freezing line is as well. Macon getting potentially some flurries or even just some freezing drizzle out there, getting into Paris right now. It's still about 28 here in Moberly, 33 though in Mexico there in Audrain County, 37 in Columbia. So you can see we are well above that freezing line as you head down to the south, still 41 in Versailles this hour. And on our weathercast here, hour by hour, temperatures will continue to go above freezing even in our northern area. This is from a warm front that's pushing up right now. And then so as these main rain showers start to roll through after midnight, closer to 3 a.m., it's all falling just as rain. Even by 6 a.m., still some showers out here, some sprinkles still falling as rain. These are going to be our high temperatures for the day. We start to cool down behind that cold front in the morning. Already by 10 a.m., a lot of us around that freezing mark. The good news is as we continue, well, bad news first, we're going to get very cold this week, actually 35 degrees below average for this time of year. Then we're eventually going to warm back up as well. But some of these temperatures are going to be very dangerous, especially with our wind chills. I'm tracking that for you hour by hour for our entire area. It's coming up later.
Okay, Kenton, thank you very much. A column at the club at Old Hawthorne in Columbia is in pieces after a car hit it earlier today. An eyewitness told us the car clipped the column and smashed into a tree. Debris from the column almost hit the witness and broke his rear car window, but no one got hurt. Columbia police officers on the scene told us the building is still stable and safe without a column. The vehicle involved got towed away shortly after, and officers have not said yet what caused the accident.
The White House says President Trump will shut down the government again in 3 weeks if he can't come to an agreement on a spending bill with Congress. Acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney says while the president doesn't want to repeat of the past 35 days, he'll do whatever he feels is necessary.
This is a serious humanitarian and security crisis, and as President of the United States, he takes the security of the nation as his highest priority. He doesn't want to shut the government down. Let's make that very clear. He doesn't want to declare a national emergency.
Senator Chuck Schumer announced today he's supporting legislation that would make sure the government never shuts down again. Schumer says if the president and Congress can't agree on an issue, federal workers would still be paid at the same level. He says the bill will not only protect government employees, but also hold leaders accountable.
If we can pass that legislation, it will mean, above all, that federal workers will not be hurt again, and it will also limit the incentive of anybody, a president, Congress, or anybody else, to use shutdown as a tool to get what they want.
President Trump has come under fire in recent days for hiring undocumented immigrants to work at his golf clubs and firing them during the government shutdown. Tonight, in an exclusive interview with NBC, those two undocumented workers who were fired from Trump's Bedminster Golf Club sat down and talked about their story.
And what did you show them?
They just take the copy.
They took a copy
They take a copy and they don't ask anything.
They didn't ask any questions?
No, any questions, no nothing.
I kind of stayed quiet for a little bit, like I didn't want to respond. They asked me again, are you legal working here? I told them no. So after that they say so the company, they cannot keep you over there because I'm not legal.
A Guatemalan boy who died while in U.S. Customs and Border Patrol custody was laid to rest today in his hometown. 8-year-old Felipe Gomez Alonso died from unknown causes minutes before midnight on Christmas Eve. Reports say he showed signs of, quote, potential illness when he was taken into custody with his father. He was the second child to die in Border Patrol custody.
Venezuela's leadership crisis continues to deepen. In the wake of protests, leaders across the globe are choosing which of the nation's two presidents to embrace. CNN's David Daniel has the story.
As the crisis in Venezuela escalates, world leaders are divided over Venezuela, picking sides over who is the legitimate leader of the embattled South American country. Opposition leader Juan Guaido declared he was the interim president last week. He has gained support from President Trump. At a UN Security Council meeting this weekend, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo urged action to address the political and humanitarian crisis.
Now it's time for every other nation to pick a side. No more delays, no more games. Either you stand with the forces of freedom, or you're in league with Maduro and his mayhem.
Meanwhile, President Nicolas Maduro, who is supported by Russia and China, is speaking out and pointing fingers. He's accusing the United States of orchestrating a coup to remove him from power.
It's an expression of an empire in the face of decline. Pompeo is expressing an empire that is now shouting and threatening.
Amid massive and deadly anti-government protests, Guaido claimed Maduro was illegitimately elected for a second term. While Maduro is now accusing Guaido of violating the Constitution. Some U.S. lawmakers are demanding action, but stopping short of supporting American military intervention.
Everything is an option because we always have an option of defending our national security in cases where it's threatened.
I'm David Daniel reporting.
Venezuela is backing down on its demand for U.S. diplomats to leave the country. This comes after tensions ran high at this weekend's UN Security Council meeting. Maduro announced Saturday that Venezuela will start negotiations with the U.S. to establish interest offices in both countries within 30 days. Maduro broke relations earlier in the week after Washington recognized opposition leader Guaido as the country's interim president.
The death toll continues to rise after a catastrophic dam collapse today in Brazil. Officials say 58 people have died since a dam failed at an iron ore mine roughly 250 miles north of Rio de Janeiro. The collapsed dam buried mining facilities and nearby homes in a torrent of mud. Hundreds are still missing. The cause of the failure remains unknown. Afghan officials are welcoming news of progress in peace talks between the Taliban and U.S. negotiators. Reuters reports there has been an agreement on a draft peace pact for Afghanistan. Taliban officials say U.S. negotiators agreed on the draft yesterday. The agreement would call for the withdrawal of foreign troops from Afghanistan within 18 months, potentially ending the United States' longest war.
Well, we're going to be on a weather roller coaster here this week with the coldest air we've had in about 13 months arriving by the middle of the week, and then we warm back up for the weekend. Good news there. Also, we're looking for some safety issues with this as well. I'll tell you about that. Plus, looking at a few chances for rain and snow. It's all coming up later in the show.
It's a doctor's job to make sure people are properly vaccinated, but there are some doing just the opposite. That's coming up.